The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. Yeah!
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. Today I'll be joined by Hal Denbar. He's with NPP, or National Pool Partners, and this is a very interesting group that's moving into the pool industry. As you listen to this podcast, I think you're going to get a clear understanding of what NPP is and what they're going to actually do to the industry as they move in and acquire companies and kind of bring them into their fold. But I'll let Hal explain how that happens in this podcast here. And he's going to go over a lot of the details about NPP and clear up some misconceptions about the company and what their ultimate goals are in the pool industry. Pool Service Pro, open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Also receive priority service, enhanced rebate programs, a discount on your general liability insurance through SPA, a discount on your pool routing software through Skimmer, and an opportunity to co-brand with Leslie's on your social media, website, truck, and more. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro. I'm joined today by Hal Denbar, and he's the founding partner of NPP, and he's the president of the Texas region. So Hal, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, David.
So what's your role in the industry before you joined National Pool Partners? Let's let the listeners know your background.
Yeah, so I've touched about every part of the service industry. My last semester of college, I had a job as a pool cleaner for a company in Austin, Texas. The week I graduated from college, I started my own pool service company with one account. Was a single poler for 5 years before we grew to the point where I could hire my first employee, and then was able to, over the course of many years, scale that business to a team of a little more than 40 people before joining NPP.
Great, that's a good background because I think that's important for what you're doing with NPP for sure. And let me try to categorize NPP for the listeners here. And I have a statement from your site. It says, National Pool Partners, NPP is unique among companies consolidating pool service businesses in the industry, as it's the only consolidator with pool industry veterans as founders. NPP is a purpose-driven company focused on elevating the pool industry for professionals and pool owners. And to break that down, I did a post on Facebook, and some of the comments said that NPP is like the Walmart of pool service, or the Uber of pool service, I should say. And, I'm kind of a Star Trek nerd, so, NPP are you the Borg of pool service?
I don't know that any of those quite nail what it is that we're trying to do. We are a consolidator, so we are looking to build a large company in this industry by acquiring other pool service companies around the country. But I can tell you at a very high level, if we're talking business models, we are building a premium product, premium price company. We are looking to be more of, say, a Whole Foods than a Walmart. And so there are definitely going to be companies in this industry that are higher touch and lower touch than we are, because the Walmart low price mass consumer product is not what we're angling for. But at the same time, being a company at scale, we can't be a boutique highest touch service either, right? That's where one polers come in, which I know because I was a one poler myself for 5 years growing Patriot. So we're looking to be high end service, but at scale, we know we can't be the highest end. That is a niche that only I think one polers can fulfill, and we're definitely not going to be the low cost value option in the market.
What about the comparison to Uber? That doesn't fit either, right?
No, because we are corporate owned, and everything that we do is internal, right? We're not subcontracting. We're not a franchise. We are looking to acquire companies and run them ourselves. So I don't think the Uber catch-all fits either.
And then you mentioned that you're not a franchise, and people are familiar with franchises. Maybe they're thinking franchise like burger places or other kind of things, or maybe even Pinch a Penny, which is a franchise pool store company. The franchise model is not what NPP is. And why are you not a franchise model? What's the advantage points here that I got from your site too? It says NPP has 3 unique advantages. Number one, the swimming pool industry expertise. The founders are all veterans. And then the experience of scaling. The CEO came from Terminix, so he knows how to scale a business. And the last one here is that you have capital, and this is pretty amazing when I read this statement. You have 200 million in capital to invest in acquiring companies. And
Yes.
so why is this model better than a franchise model in the opinion of NPP, and why did you stick with this model or pick this model?
Yeah, so I mean, at the highest level, we can control the product that we're providing at a much higher level and make sure that it is living up to the standard that we hope it does. Right? If we go and buy a company, we can then help that company grow by implementing our systems at a local level while still retaining the ownership and therefore control of the end product. In my mind, one reason I was never quite attracted to the franchise model is quality control can slip because it's up to the individual franchisor or franchisee, and this is very much a different model. And those three, I think, unique points that you just mentioned are a huge piece of what attracted me to NPP. Right, to get in at the ground level and help provide the vision to grow this industry in a way that it never has grown, with the support of both our CEO Augusto and the chairman of our board Matt Stevenson come from Terminex. So they have been a part of $1 billion+ home service company. They know what that looks like. They know what's good and what's bad about it. And that one big piece is they were attracted to an industry where they could start from scratch and take the knowledge of all the things that sucked in pest service at scale and eliminate those before they have a chance to take root. And then you're right. The third piece of that stool is we're bringing significant capital into this industry. There have been consolidators at much smaller scale that might have given this a go in the past, but nobody has come in with pool industry experience, home service at scale experience, and the amount of capital that we're bringing. And all three of those things were a huge piece of what attracted me. If we're gonna create consolidation in this industry, and if I'm going to be a part of it, I want, just like anything I do, I want to make sure that it's done right. And I saw that opportunity and potential with National Pool Partners.
Yeah, another thing that I think was mentioned in the post on Facebook was that the impact of NPP is unknown in the industry because it is relatively new. This has never happened before. And some people are afraid that you're going to put the single polers out of business. I don't, personally, I don't think that would happen because you have Home Depot, you have Lowe's, and you have Ace Hardware, and maybe some small mom and pop stores still. But you are going to change the landscape for sure because you're moving in with this capital, with this business model. And I think the industry also needs a kind of a boost, I guess I would say, in their image, because I think we're the only industry that you can get a truck, a pole, and a vacuum and then start your business without any kind of license, any kind of knowledge base. And that kind of brings the industry down in a way. And I don't know where you fall politically as far as like having everyone certified or licensed. NPP, what kind of impact do you see it having on the pool industry, the pool service market itself?
Yeah, so one of our primary missions actually is to elevate the entire industry, right? And what we mean by that is, I think through the existence of consolidation, the reason our industry has lagged behind others, in my mind, in terms of professionalism and pricing, many of the things that I think every time we go to a trade show as pool techs, we're sitting there complaining about, right, around beers at the table, of like why aren't we doing these things as an industry that we know we're capable of and we see other industries do. And I think the lack of consolidation is what is the biggest culprit, really, because once you have large players come into an industry, in order to exist as a large company, you have to build training curriculum. You have to professionalize in a way that if you're a guy in a truck like I was for many years, is not required to do business. You have to bring technology to the table in order to support that many people within a single organization. So having all of that available through consolidation, I think actually will trickle down and hit every single level of this industry and elevate it, because you'll have brighter career paths, you'll have higher wages, more benefits that are the standard for employees in this industry, and all of that will bring higher pricing. And if a large consolidator is raising pricing in a market, everybody else in that market is capable of raising prices as well. And when you look at other sort of more mature home service industries, like the best example being pest control, while you have these monstrous companies, there's two multi-billion-dollar companies in that industry. There's also several hundreds of millions of dollars company and countless small companies and individual operators. That ecosystem actually, I think, is a healthier one for an industry than what we've had in our industry to date, because not only are you presenting more options, you're also bringing more weight to every single thing that we could do in our industry better than what we do today. And so I definitely don't think, in my mind, if I thought this was something that was going to harm people in the industry, I never would have joined up. I think the potential that we're bringing to raise this industry up is vast, and that's what got me excited about this.
And my other question was, was there a need for NPP in the industry? And I think you kind of answered that with that one, because your goal is to elevate the industry and kind of give us some credence where maybe it didn't have it before. And that's kind of one of the things that I think I understand about what you said there. And what about the single pollers, the fear that you're going to come in and undercut them and take their business away?
Yeah, well, so undercut is definitely not something we're in business to do. Like I said, we're looking to bring a premium product for a premium price. And what's been always interesting to me about our industry is, historically, my observation at least, is many single pollers happen to be the lowest priced companies in most markets. I can't think of a single other industry where a boutique service or a boutique product is cheaper than a product or service from a large company. And I think that's one mind shift I think would be healthy for our industry, is if someone is providing higher touch service than a large company is capable of, they should be charging a higher price for that service. And if we're coming into markets and actually looking to elevate pricing as a large company, small companies who are more nimble and providing a higher touch product should actually be charging even more than that. So, fear of us coming in and undercutting a market, I would say is invalid, just because that's far away from the business model we're trying to create individually. And as an industry model, I think the shift of mindset of small operators charging a premium is something we should encourage.
I think you're right there. I think what's going to happen is that if you come into the market and you set a rate that is higher than the single polar, they can match your rate and they can start making more money. And I think the fear of being undercut is maybe looking at your model and using like a different analogy, like comparing it to Walmart, where they undercut smaller markets because of their pricing. And you're not coming in and charging less for filter cleaning than the single polar is going to charge. You're actually going to charge more and raise the bar up. Is that a correct assessment?
Exactly. That's exactly what we're looking to do.
And so let's change gears. Unless you're talking to someone who has a big pool route, we'll get into how you evaluate the companies also. But they're thinking about selling with a traditional broker. And as you know, a traditional broker will look for someone who's maybe raw, new to the industry, wants to get into it, and then they'll sell your route for 10 to 12 times the monthly gross is kind of what they do. And then the owner takes over, who has no background in the industry usually, and runs that company. That's how it's been done pretty much going back to the beginning of pool route sales. Now NPP comes in and they'll talk to the seller and they'll evaluate the business. Go over some of the things that you're looking for in the seller, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the ways you approach the seller.
Yeah, so I could tell you, specifically with NPP and in this new sort of consolidation era of the industry. And again, I'll harp on it. Since we're looking to bring a premium product for a premium price, we're looking for companies that are at the top of the market, reputation wise, price wise. As we go in and we're researching a market we want to enter, or a market we're already in, and looking for companies to acquire, that's hugely important to us. We're very selective. We're not out there buying any company that we can find, or any company that is willing to sell to us, because they don't all fit into that model. And we know we can't take a company that say charges at the bottom of the market and is may have a poor reputation. We can't buy that company and convert it to what we want to convert it to without losing significant value and a lot of those customers. And so for us, when we go into a market, we're looking for the companies that are elite at what they do, and are known for that and charge according to that. So that's a huge piece of what we're looking for when we're looking for companies to purchase.
And what would be the advantage of someone selling to you versus using a broker?
Yeah, so there's a few, I think, really things that make it worthwhile exploring an option like us. One, legacy wise, right? If you've built a route, built a business, you care about those customers. If you have employees, you care about those employees, typically like their family. In our case, rather than having someone typically with a broker who may be brand new to the industry, not have any idea what they're doing, you're selling to pool professionals, right? We know what we're doing. We do it well. Your legacy is taken care of. As far as time commitment from the individual seller, one, we can close deals much faster than the sort of amorphous. If you just list it with a broker, you have no idea how long that may take to sell. We can do deals very rapidly because we have a deal team that is what they focus on every single day. And beyond that, because we're pool professionals and we know what we're doing, the commitment from the seller after the sale, there's no need to ride along with us and train us. We know what we're doing already and do it at a high level, and we can take your customer base, take your employees, plug them into a system that works in a timeline that is respectful of the transition to the consumer and the employee, so that there's no shock of what's in progress. But the requirements on a seller are essentially none post close of a deal, because we don't need any assistance at that point.
So what market are you focused on? What area are you targeting right now to acquire these large companies in?
Yeah, so currently we are operational in Florida, Texas, and Arizona. We are looking to grow across the Sun Belt. Currently, California is not a target for us. We're not looking to operate in California, but we're open to any other Sun Belt state that may have businesses large enough that make an entry for us easy. And what I mean by that, so when we go into a new market, the first company we need to acquire does need to be quite large, because we need to acquire and inherit infrastructure, whether it's just organizational and people that we know it is sustainable while being managed from afar. So we can't go into a new market and buy a route or a 5-person company, because that company initially will require more oversight than we can provide from and say in the state of Texas. I'm based in Austin, so I can't go to Dallas and buy a small company and manage it from afar. First strike into a city is we need to purchase something large, and then once we've opened up that market, we can look to acquire anything in that market, plug it into our new company in that region.
Yeah, so I'm in California. I know there's a lot of things wrong with the state.
Yeah, so California is not on our radar at the moment, just because, just quite honestly, it's much harder to do business, especially as a large company in California, than other states. And so it's just not a priority for us at the moment, because we know there's plenty of business to be had in states that are easier to operate in.
Yeah, well, that's the chalk up to the nanny state, I guess. It's California's nickname.
Yeah, no,
everyone's leaving California and not coming to California.
Yeah, a company with hundreds of employees, the regulation is just quite burdensome, and so it's just for the moment not in our sights.
Let's say one of the comments on the post was, person's fairly young still, they're not ready to retire. So you're talking to the business owner with a big company. They maybe are getting kind of burned out, or maybe thinking about other things. What would be the option for the seller at that point who's not ready to retire?
Yeah, so there's a few different options. One, people are gold for what we're doing. We're a people first company. We want as many skilled people in this industry on the team as possible. So that's absolutely one avenue we can look at for people who want to sell. Is we've got people that have joined our corporate team, have joined regional teams. We have people who have stayed at the branch level. So career paths are something that we are building rapidly and in a way that this industry's never seen. So for many people, if you've built if you've been employed with a pool service company for many years, really if you've hit the ceiling in your small company, the only alternative was to go start your own business to progress in your career. And not everybody's designed to be an entrepreneur. And so, what we do is we can provide opportunity across multiple states in many cities to do what you love. And as we start to build critical mass to possibly even specialize in what you love at an even higher level, right? We'll be building out teams as we scale this of startup technicians, of inspectors, of all these different specialty skills in our industry that most companies have to do as a catch-all, where one person is going to do any number of things. And one benefit of large size is we can create specialists, which just creates more career paths, more managerial opportunities, where there's a place for anybody in this industry that wants to specialize. We can build that as we grow this company.
Yeah, and I see a lot of potential in the business model. You're going to, of course, treat the employees in a different way because you can offer them more benefits. And you can also treat the customers in a different way by the service you can provide that small companies can't. If you have a plumbing problem, there are 24-hour companies out there because they're big companies and they have someone who can come out at 2 a.m, 3 a.m. They exist for that reason. And I'm thinking also like Airbnb, one of the problems with single pollers doing those kind of pools is that when the tenant moves out or the short-term lease is up, they have to be there on the spot and they can't do that. And so there's a lot of opportunities for a big company to kind of move into the market and do things that smaller companies can't do. Maybe that's some of the pushback you're going to get, is that you're going to come in and take some business away, but truthfully, you're doing things that other companies can't handle, I think, in a way. Let's talk about the labor market. It's pretty tight right now. Everyone's looking for
Mhm.
employees. And so if I'm a pool tech and I'm working for, Joe's Pool Service and I see this NPP company and they're hiring, what would attract me to your company versus staying with the one I'm with or looking for another small company to work with?
Yeah, so there's a few things there. One, right out of the gate, the benefits that we can provide because of the scale we're operating at, we can provide comprehensive benefits that the many companies in this industry just honestly can't afford to provide. I know as a small business owner myself, we provided health insurance that we would pay half of at Patriot. Beyond that, the affordability of providing comprehensive benefits, that was about the extent of what we could offer. At NPP, our healthcare plan is less than half of what it was for my employees at Patriot. We have free dental insurance. We have extremely inexpensive vision insurance, short-term disability, life insurance is provided to all of our employees, a 401k. And then beyond that, just the career progression and mobility that a large company can provide. One of the coolest things is we've done each of the company announcements so far as we tell employees what's, the company that they have worked for has been acquired by NPP. One of the most fun parts of it is seeing the people in the room recognize the opportunity that's being presented to them. As we talk about within a single location, all of the new positions that we'll be creating. And then beyond that, the fact that we're going to have branches all across the US. People are, raising their hand and saying, wait a second, my grandma lives in Orlando. Can I move to Orlando and keep my job? And wait, talk about these positions. If a manager spot opens up in Scottsdale, Arizona, can I apply for that if I'm in Austin, Texas? And so the career opportunity along with the benefits are two just huge things that I know I wasn't capable of providing on my own as a small business owner in Austin, Texas, and was part of what influenced me to join and help create this larger organization that can create a better quality of life for every level of this industry.
And I think a few things we should mention also before we give some more information out, that when you acquire these companies, you don't actually change the name of the company. You keep that company with that name of the previous owner had established in most cases, right? Is that how it works?
So not in most cases. How we do this is we're going to be a NPP is never going to be a consumer facing brand. NPP is a parent company that owns pool service brands across the United States. So when we go into a new market, so say Austin, for example, we purchased Patriot Pool and Spa, my former company. Patriot Pool and Spa is what will remain as our Austin, Texas brand. So anything we now buy in Austin, Texas will fold into the Patriot Pool and Spa brand. Same thing if we go into Dallas, we purchase a large company in Dallas. We're gonna keep that brand equity because we see that as a strength. These companies that have thrived in these individual cities, they've thrived for a reason. And we don't want to erase that identity because we're just throwing away years of brand equity. So we want to keep these brands alive. We want to keep the local cultures that these companies have created and have caused them to thrive alive, and then pour more resources into them. So if we go into a new market, yes, we're looking to find a brand that is strong, keep it alive and grow it rapidly, but we can't keep every brand alive. Once we have a brand in the market, it would be confusing to the consumer. The cost would become extremely burdensome if we're advertising for 10 different brands in a single city. So, we will find our marquee brand for an individual market, put our stamp on it, and then everything we buy in that market will roll into that brand.
Got it. It makes sense. So you're kind of like Pepsi. I just Googled it to see a big company that owns a lot of smaller companies. They own Frito-Lay, I guess not small companies, but, Frito-Lay's, Doritos, 7-Up, Tropicana, Quaker Oats. And so they kept all those brand names for logical reasons. And so what you're saying is that if there's like a big company like yours, Patriot, and there's smaller companies you acquire, you would just bring them all under the Patriot brand name, right?
Correct. So, for example, we purchased Longhorn Pool Service a few weeks back. That is transitioned into the Patriot Pool and Spa brand already. We purchased O'Neill's Pools in Lakeway, Texas, which is a suburb of Austin. We'll be transitioning over the course of the fall. O'Neill's, because they're a larger company, it's going to be a slower transition them into the Patriot brand. So that's exactly how it'll work. And a big piece of that, the reason we want these regional brands is because we know that, as everybody in the industry does and has identified for a long time, pool service in Arizona is not the same as pool service in South Florida, which is not the same as pool service in North Texas. There's some very real and concrete regional differences in our industry, and we're aware of that because we're pool guys. And so what we want to do is build, ideally, say about an 80% universal best practice that we can go branch to branch and branch and observe, what does Patriot do better than everybody else we have in our fold? What does Aquaman in Scottsdale, Arizona do better than everybody else? Start to take these things, build, what we think is going to be an ideal product for our consumers and our employees. But we only want that to be about 80% of who we are in these local branches, because we want to keep about 20% of the local flavor, regional differences, the culture, the fun things that company might have done that let it thrive and attract employees to come work for them. So we very much want to keep a local feel and a local brand presence in these markets, and we don't want to whitewash it and make it all the same thing, because to us we see that as erasing strengths when we should be propping them up as tools for growth.
And I think the bottom line, I think this is a pretty amazing venture that NPP is doing, something that maybe people have thought about but never implemented the way you have implemented it. And I think that's because you have, again, the founders are all in the industry. You're not coming from like an investment bank outside with really no knowledge of what's going on in the industry that you're taking over. And that's probably why this is going to be really successful. And I think, just by talking to you, those that maybe were apprehensive about it, of you coming into their area, should feel a little better about it now, because you're going to raise the bar. You're not going to lower the bar. And you're going to also give the industry a better image, I think, in the long run. And you're going to provide the pool tech that is looking for options for employment, somewhere to actually go where there's room to advance. If you're working for a small company, you're going to be doing pools outside for 15 years. There's nowhere else you can go except your own business. And again, like you mentioned, not everyone is set up to run their own business, because that does take a lot of effort and the right personality. After talking to you, that, and also listeners can hear what you're saying here, that they should be more comfortable with what you're trying to do with the industry.
Well, and I would say even to the independent operators, the one pollers and the small to mid-sized companies out there, reach out to us, because we want to, as we have said many times, elevate this industry. We're going to be providing education across to the industry, technical and business space, since all of us have been both technical field techs and business owners. Because to us, the stronger every business in this industry is, again, the higher prices we can charge. Eventually, when people choose to exit, we can provide them with more value when we look to buy your company. And even in present day, like I know in Austin, Texas, as we mentioned, there's going to be high touch customers that are not going to be satisfied with service that any larger company can provide, whether it's a 10-person company or a 500-person company. And we need somewhere to refer those customers. I can tell you in Austin, Texas, we refer those customers out to our local IPSA chapters, just because we know we're not for everybody. And we know we provide a great product, and for the right customer, they'll be extremely satisfied. But we know that's not going to satisfy 100% of the consumers, and we're looking for people that we can refer business to if it's a customer that is not an ideal fit for what it is that we do.
And I agree with you there, because when I was calling a plumber about a couple months ago for one of my properties, he referred me to another person because he was too busy to get there. I called them, and they referred me to a third person because they couldn't do it either. And I think the pool industry lacks that networking sometimes, because we're afraid of someone coming in and saying something about the pool, like, "Hey, who's your pool guy, man? He's not doing this right." And so there's that fear of a bigger company coming in and taking. But I think what you're saying is true. I think networking is really important. And if you're coming into the market to raise the bar, then networking with you is probably the next step for these smaller companies to acquire. Maybe you can't service the pool because it's out of your territory. You give it to this other company, and you're gonna just by being in that market have that networking ability established there. So I think that's a great point to bring up. So if you're a potential, let's say you'll have a big company and you want to sell, and you don't live in California. Let's emphasize that. You want to sell your business, and you don't really want to sell to a broker because you're afraid maybe that the new owner's not going to like your employees, or maybe not be able to handle your business, because that's a pretty big business to sell to begin with for someone coming in to buy it. And you're looking to sell your business, and maybe you don't want to get out. Maybe you want to roll in the company like you mentioned, or you're talking to a potential employee. Where can they go to learn more about NPP, what they offer, how to start the process, and all those things? What's the best resource for them?
Yeah, so our website's a good starting point. It's go-npp.com. You can also email me directly, and I can point you in the right direction if I may not be the right touch point. But my email is hdenbar, which is DENBAR at go-npp.com.
Great. And I thank you for your time on this. And I think it really helps for you to come on here and explain terms of what NPP stands for, what's it coming into the market for, what it's going to do to the industry, and to kind of allay some fears that people may have of your company coming in. And we can't again compare it to Walmart or Uber because that's not a accurate comparison. You're not coming in to cut the prices. You're not coming in to acquire people by offering low cost service, and you're certainly not hiring people to do accounts that are not accountable to the company itself. And you're not a franchise model. So you're really unique in the industry. And I think after listening to this podcast, people will know when they hear NPP what you stand for and what's happening in their region when you come into their area.
Absolutely. And if we come into your area, like I said, reach out to us. We'd love to get to know you because, then we can help everybody succeed.
Yeah. So thanks for your time, Hal.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, David.
Again, the website for NPP National Pool Partners is go-npp.com. You can go there to learn more information about NPP. And I think, again, the concept of this particular business model is in itself unique, but definitely something that the industry needs in a way to give it a shot in the arm to make it a more legitimate industry. I mentioned in the podcast that you can just throw a pole, a leaf rake, and a vacuum and a hose in your truck, and you're basically a pool guy. But it takes more than that, of course, to represent the industry. And I think something like this is going to move the needle a lot in the industry itself, making it more legitimate. If you're looking for more podcasts that I've recorded, you can definitely find them from my website. Go to swimmingpoollearning.com. On the banner, click on the podcast icon. That'll take you to the podcast I've recorded. And I also have a coaching program available to you. Right now, currently, there's like 260 members in there. Definitely, there's a lot of great benefits. You can text me or call me, depending on the level you sign up for. You also get a discount on your general liability insurance. And there's a private group chat where you can post questions in there. And then professionals from around the country can answer that for you. And I'm also in the chat answering questions for you there too. You can learn more at my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. On the banner, there's an icon for the coaching program, or you can go to poolguycoaching.com to learn more information about that. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. Pool Service Pro. Open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro.